Yo! Vape Town. Getting a vape on.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The thing was off.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blow!
I just vaped your face! Where's that drop? Get to the drop.
I don't know.
Sounds like video game music.
There is no drop. I don't know what happened.
This dubstep blows.
Here. Whomp! There.
Vape. We're vaping. Welcome to Star Trek Star to Steer Her By Star Trek Podcast. We're on a vape craze. Woo! Get your vape on. We are professional vapists. My name is the Vape Boy Jake.
This is Chris.
This is Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
We're vaping hard. Yeah.
Stop
Vape,
blowing on
vaping,
me.
vape. Vaping around, vaping up top, vaping down, vaping low, vaping high, vaping around, vaping these things all vaping my vape pole. Stick it up your vape, put it in a vape and make it ring. Ugh.
Whoa!
That got dark fast. Anyway.
Can somebody insert like a fucking whoop sound there?
No, because I don't know how to do that. I don't feel like learning.
Anyway.
Everybody's a grumpus.
Yeah, guys. So it is Vape Week on A Star to Steer Her By.
Why is it Vape Week?
Isn't every week Vape Week?
I do declare it is Vape Week. No, we were just indulging ourselves in some...
We? Don't we.
I was indulging myself in some professional quality produced vape trick videos on YouTube.com. So if you, dear listener, are a vapist, then I encourage you to go out there and...
Never be like these people.
Well, I mean, if you want to be really, really cool, then don't be like these people. But if you kind of are a loser and... I don't know.
I will say, I would like to somehow send these videos back to little me. Be like, it's okay, little you who feels so lonely and nerdy. At least you're not as pathetic as these motherfuckers.
If we could somehow combine our love of Star Trek with vaping, I think we would really be onto something.
I mean, that's just...
Possibly
that's
the
just
most
the
socially
race.
isolating combination of things to happen
Poor
to anybody.
Mendon.
Yeah. We were watching a vape video, and I made note that Mendon would have schooled these motherfuckers.
I just kept hoping the video was going to involve a zoo break and just a lion was going to pounce in from the side and kill these people.
And I've decided that this is actually my calling, and that when I become a professional vapist, my stage name will be Mendon.
I love it. I think.
I like
in
Vegas
fact,
with stage names.
It'll actually be Womendom because
there was also
feminism.
Mordok was the other one.
Yeah, but he was lame, I think.
Mordok sound too much like Morlock.
Anyway,
Warlock.
what episodes are we watching?
Oh, that's
this
right.
week?
We're doing a Star Trek podcast.
Everything up until now has
Let's
been cut.
let me vape us in. So this week on A Star Trek to Steer Her By, that's not whatever, you know what it is. On this week's episode, we're talking about 2 episodes of Star Trek: The Next Generation, Season 4. It's also episode 102 of our show. These ones are episodes...
Sounds like somebody can't handle their vape.
Season 4, episode 20 and 21, respectively, the Vapalicious Qpid, and we get ourselves a nice vapening in the Drumhead. The Drumhead. So,
Wow.
just
Whenever it's Jake's turn to intro, we should just skip these.
just to do a quick overvape of these episodes. In Qpid, we're at the planet Tagus 2, not to be confused with Magix 2 or whatever.
I was thinking of that also, actually. Magus 2.
Whatever. Oh, we're at Tagus.
Or Magus. Magus 2?
We're at Tagus.
Magus 3?
No, I had it all wrong. We're at Tagus 3.
Entirely different
Nothing.
planet.
Totally different place. This is next door to Tegas 2.
You're at the wrong house, sir.
So Picard's gonna do this like archaeology symposium thing because I guess there's some really cool ruins on the planet that no one can go and see because they've been sealed off.
But they'll still talk about them.
Before he can give his speech, he gets his boner when he is greeted by a Horgon in his quarters and one very sultry Vash.
He's greeted with a Horgon in his quarters. Also, they bought a structure.
Yes. Yep. Vash is there.
That's
she seduces the captain. That's not true. They were going to bone the second we saw her. And then, of course, the next morning, Beverly shows up to get hers. And there's a little
check it off the daily
awkwardness.
to-do list.
Picard's very awkward about the whole thing. Then Q shows up, and Q's like, Mon Capitan.
I want in on this.
I wanted to thank you for helping me get back in good with the Continuum. So, one wish. Give me a wish. And Picard's like, I don't want your wish because you are exactly the kind of genie that every genie in fiction has ever been, which is a trickster. Mm-hmm. So please just leave. And then Q decides on his own that he's gonna fix the relationship between Vash and Picard because they have a little spat. So Q's like, I'm gonna fix this. So to fix it, he transports them all to Nottingham in jolly old England and makes all of the crew of the Enterprise into the characters from Robin Hood's Merry Men, and he makes Vash Maid Marian, and he himself and Q himself gets to play the Sheriff of Rottingham. That's from the other Robin Hood movie, which had Patrick Stewart, Men in Tights. Yeah, so that all happens. They do they have a little adventure. Picard rescues the fair maid, and then he has to be rescued himself by everybody else. And everybody works together. Nobody gets killed. And Vash is like, Jesus, Q is so much more exciting than Jean-Luc old guy. So she ditches Picard to go and she gets a little
steal riches throughout time with Q's help.
Yeah, she gets a little. So Q. So in the end of the day, Q's effort to do good for Picard ends up with him stealing his girlfriend. So good job, Q. You did good.
Well, I mean, if he can't be with Picard, he wants to be Picard, and that's
true.
understandable.
I bet you Q could transform his penis into a little Picard head. A little Captain Picard with little hair on it.
Which he probably does while he masturbates.
Oh, I'm sure.
Obviously.
Clearly. Anywho.
Also, this episode had the greatest line in the world.
Oh, yeah. I protest. I am not a merry man. Yeah.
I'm glad that you knew what I meant.
Oh, of course.
Oh,
It's one of.
But it was more like it was. I am not a merry man. Like, it was very, like, I don't know. It was so beautiful.
It's one of those.
Michael
there were
Dorn is so
there were
wonderful.
4 or 5 of these, like, just absolutely excellent Worf deliveries. There's this one. There's the good tea. There's one Riker. Like, there's just these times when Michael Dorn just totally nails a line delivery, and this is among them.
Would you say that his awesome lines are comparable to the women?
I would say so.
Okay.
I think so.
I
think
would
his
agree.
are intentionally great, whereas the women was
hilarious.
just hilariously bad delivery. Okay, after a
It's not a good delivery of the women, though.
After a hilarious romp in Qpid, we jump immediately to
Drumhead.
The Drumhead, McCarthyism, witch hunts. This is like some Robert Mueller shit going down here. You get it? Yeah.
Courtroom drama.
No, so there's been a sabotage. Sabotage.
Don't correct me.
No, so we have a spy on board. That's what we first learned. There's a Klingon exchange student with a very tassely jacket.
What's tassely?
On board the Enterprise. Turns out that he's been smuggling secrets to the Romulans, possible foreshadowing of a Romulan-Klingon alliance.
Well, they are back, aren't they not?
They are back.
They're very back.
Back again.
Guess who's back?
So Klingon turns out he's a spy. He's been injecting himself with secrets.
Yeah, that was wild technology. I look forward to discussing that.
I liked that. That was cool.
And then just maybe or maybe not coincidentally, the warp core explodes.
Whoops, lol.
So they figure, well, this is a big problem. So they get
Geordi was masturbating.
They call
there.
out of retirement the great, the one, the legendary, the woman, the myth, the legend, Admiral Nora Satie.
Boo.
Who's just this, like, crotchety old lady with a mid-Atlantic accent who is there to proceed over the investigation.
Preside?
Preside over the investigation.
Did they say that she was the one that nailed that figured out the conspiracy in Conspiracy?
I mean, I'm pretty sure Picard and Riker figured out the conspiracy in Conspiracy when they revealed the conspiracy and killed the aliens.
She's just the one who burned everybody at the stake after the fact.
Yeah. So Admiral Satie, evidently very well known in the Federation for her shrewd legal mind
and her flouncy collar.
Yep.
Actually, she was self-made in spite of her.
So she shows up on the Enterprise with a weird lady and a Betazoid dude, and proceeds to do some interrogations. They find this poor bastard Simon Tarsus, who's got a little pointy ear situation going.
You weren't that pointy.
No, it was his eyebrows are what actually gave him away to me.
Yeah, they did a good job of like showing him as like someone who might be a quarter Vulcan, but of course it turns out he wasn't a quarter Vulcan. He's a quarter Romulan. Dun dun dun.
Kill him.
So our Admiral starts going down the route of the witch hunt. She starts. She freaks out. She has her attack dog Betazoid guy start destroying this poor young guy. Picard, of course, is not having any of it. So he's like, Satie, you bitch. And she's like, Picard.
And she's like, now you're on trial, motherfucker.
And then she puts Picard on there and starts calling his loyalty
opening
into
up
question.
old wounds.
And then Picard shoves it all back in her face when he quotes her noble father and quotes back at her some quote of his that was moving and basically said that witch hunts are bad
and you shouldn't be a fucking fascist, you crazy bitch.
And then she has a major freak out, which in front of everybody, which is sort of kind of destroys her credibility because clearly she's not approaching this from a position of genuine I'm sorry, there's a cat.
It's funny how this takes place centuries in the future, and yet...
Well, I mean, Picard makes that exact point at the end, I believe. So,
Yep.
But we'll get to that and much more when we get to the Drumhead. But first, we'll be talking about...
Qpid.
Qpid.
Which is a pretty fucking stupid title.
Yeah, most of the Q titles are kind of silly.
At least this one makes sense.
You're trying to hook up Vash and...
Yeah, like Qpid is actually, it's unlike hide and Q. What? Like, at least this one is actually a working pun.
Was there going to be an episode called Fa Q at some point? Thank you.
I can't put that on TV.
Oh, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Fuck you. There is literally a Curb Your Enthusiasm for every fucking situation in life. There actually literally fucking is.
You know, they could do it in the new Picard series since it's going to be, streaming and they can say fuck if they want.
And they will. Based on Discovery, they're definitely
going to see boobs?
say. And double dicks.
Mm.
We don't think
we didn't get to see... No,
Well,
we didn't get to see
they were
dicks.
implied double dicks. It was implicit.
You don't have enough organs to satisfy her or something.
Well, and there's also the double piss stream in that one episode.
Was that actually in Discovery?
Yeah.
Why did I think that was in one of like the old movies, like Star Trek V or something awful like that?
I do not know. Anyway, Qpid.
Good question.
Ames, what did you think?
I think it wasn't sci-fi. The end.
I think it was. Yeah, no. I mean, it definitely wasn't. It was a. I'd call it a diversion episode.
It was a fantasy episode.
It was. Yeah, it was something. It was in the spirit. I think more of a
Trouble with Tribbles.
Trouble with Tribbles or a Piece of the Action, where it's. I mean, I guess Piece of the Action does have some sci-fi to it, but it's more just a get the crew into a funny situation. And,
let them have some fun. This is the fun episode, guys.
Those are your favorite ones, Ames.
That's why I wanted to see what you thought.
Yeah, it's like I enjoy Q. Q is great in this because he's always great. He's great at everything, and his costume looks amazing, and he's got that cute little hat, and that's fine.
He's a cutie.
He is a cutie.
I also liked when he just kind of leaned in through the bulkhead.
Yeah, that was endearing. Like, and there've been fun Q episodes where I've been like, yes, this is an interesting idea, but this one, like, it struck me as out of place in the series.
I was kind of wondering, because I was like, all right, I know they do the Robin Hood thing. I can't remember if there's a justification for it. It's like, nope, Q just picked a story.
Yep. Originally, it was going to be Camelot, and they decided not to do Camelot, and they picked Robin Hood because Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, had just come out.
Oh, interesting.
And they wanted to capitalize.
I mean, it's a silly reason, but okay.
I guess I just sort of feel like this kind of silly, happy-go-lucky episode feels really out of place in a post-Borg world.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, I feel like we got really dark and serious, and then to try to, like, backpedal and be like, no, but we can still have lots of fun. It's just like,
Yeah, and I think maybe it went a little too far in the let's have lots of fun. Like, I feel like you could do a fun Barkley episode as a sort of mouthwash.
All
of
episodes
the board.
with Barkley are fun.
Yeah.
One of my notes in this was...
And terrifying, but fun.
One of my notes on this was, oh man, Reg is going to be sad he missed this.
Oh no, because he's good at the swords.
Yeah, no, he would have shown everyone up.
You know what I read that's hilarious? Apparently, Marita Sirtis and Gates McFadden were the only cast members on the show who knew swords play.
Oh.
But neither of their characers does any swords play. Yeah. They just fucking drop... They drop vases on their heads.
Pot to the head. Yeah.
So sexist.
Yeah,
Yep.
I thought that was that was very bad. In the fight scene when all the guys all have weapons and then the women just ooh.
Okay, I did like when Deanna shot Data with an arrow. That was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I think your aim is getting better.
Data's reaction was pretty good, but again, like that was like pure comedy there.
So to be,
And you could tell, even though he wasn't moving his arms like this.
to be the outlier, my only problem with this episode was that there wasn't enough of the ridiculous Robin Hood stuff. I was like, oh man, we should have gotten to this sooner, and then maybe you could have had more from everyone else.
Something that's interesting about this episode too is that it's probably at least halfway through the episode before we even
the Robin Hood stuff is so
brief,
squished. It feels like it's been cut to like a really, really concise plot. In that, when all the merry men show up at the end and they're there in their robes and they jump out and they do the thing. And it's like, wow, how did this get coordinated? How are you guys that on the ball?
Well, but
Marianne didn't even send you that letter, the ingenious letter that she thought up.
Picard hadn't gotten back, and they all know how the Robin Hood story goes.
Well, but what I did like about it, though, is I like that they kind of turn it on its head and we have, our maid Marion, like, totally subverting expectations by being like, yeah, let's get married. That's a great idea. Let's just,
Yeah, I did like that, like, true to form.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You'd expect nothing less from her, for sure.
What do you think Vash was thinking through this whole thing? Because she didn't know about the Q thing.
No.
All of a sudden, while she was at this archaeology summit, she wakes up, she's in this dress that she can't fucking figure out how to walk in. In fact, she tripped accidentally, and they kept that in the show. She tripped on that dress.
See, I thought maybe she was having trouble with the shoes, but it was the dress.
Yeah, she tripped on the hem of the dress.
It was very long and poofy.
But what the fuck do you think she's thinking this whole time?
Maybe she's just thinking, this is a dream. It's good that I'm a very strong lucid dreamer.
She's like, it's space. Weird shit happens. I'm sure
probably
it'll work
Nagilum.
Have I been beamed onto a holodeck? Is this a Romulan thing? It's probably a Romulan thing.
Do other areas of the Federation, other than Picard's ship, know about Q?
I mean, I imagine it's
probably reported it,
probably
at
a
least.
top secret thing, though. Like,
You think?
I would think that the knowledge of omnipotent beings.
Yeah, that would start a panic, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that wouldn't be great.
Although on the other hand, you think they would at least want their other captains to know. It's like, so if this guy shows up,
Well, yeah, I mean, it's probably like the secret of Talos, where, only captains know about it.
yeah.
Well, the admirals probably know too.
Well, yeah,
Someone's probably cooking up a plan to
Captains and above.
Yeah.
extort that somehow.
I did like there was one little piece of foreshadowing they did in this episode that I liked. At the very beginning of the episode, Picard's like, "How'd you get in here?" She's like, "I came in through the window." And then later he comes in through the window.
That's cute.
I didn't think of that.
Nice little reference.
It's funny, so when Guy Gisborne showed up, I had a split second where I thought he was an actor named Anthony Ainley, who played the Master on old Doctor Who.
And he was beautiful.
And it wasn't him, of course, so I looked him up, though, and the actor, I can't think of his name, had, in fact, he's got a British actor, character actor, career as long as your arm, but he had previously appeared in some sort of Robin Hood TV show. As a different character.
Appropriate.
And would later appear in, I want to say, like a Tom and Jerry Robin Hood thing or something like that.
And as I mentioned during the intro, Patrick Stewart appears as the king in Robin Hood Men in Tights.
King Richard?
Yes. He's the one that declares that all toilets shall be known as John's.
Wonderful. I actually didn't even know that Guy of Gisborne was a character, because I think most of my primary source of Robin Hood knowledge is the Disney version.
Oh, ditto.
Yeah, I think most versions just kind of make...
Prince John and Guy of Gisborne the same person.
Yeah, and they usually tend to focus more on the sheriff. Sometimes the sheriff is like the only villain and they completely kind of ignore the royalty.
Is it strange that there are two characters named John in Robin Hood and one's a villain and one is not?
You know, there just weren't that many names back then.
I guess
That's
not.
true. John is a very common name.
I mean, it's just one of those weird things.
And I liked Geordi as Blinken. That was kind of cool.
Wow. See, I had wanted... I was going to make a joke about him getting declared the new sheriff at the end, so you went in a different direction. I did enjoy the...
Nice.
What?
That's a good joke.
Well, why? Oh, because...
Was this not some sort of Blazing Saddles reference?
Well, I mean, it is, but because in Men in Tights...
I haven't seen Men in Tights since I was very small.
Oh, yeah, they make... oh, God, what's the character's name? I don't remember. But they declare the black merry man the new sheriff. And everyone goes, a black sheriff? And he goes, worked in Blazing Saddles.
Ha!
I love when Mel Brooks references his own movies.
He does it all the time.
It's
I was
hilarious.
making, of course, the blind man joke.
Yes. No, I understood.
Was there actually a blind man in the Robin Hood?
I don't know, so I've never actually read the original, but I know in Prince of Thieves, like, his family's retainer has his eyes plucked out by
But
sheriff or something.
Blinken from Men in Tights isn't based on a blind character.
I don't know. I've never read, like, the original. So, speaking of references, though, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but definitely an Animal House vibe when Worf smashes the loot.
Yeah, that was a good reference.
Geordi was way too happy to be a bard.
I kind of wish it had been more thoroughly destroyed.
Yeah, that wasn't a great
the
destroy.
guitar in Animal House just gets... it's just got a big hole.
Yeah, I feel like the twang that it made when it got destroyed wasn't...
It didn't even break the strings.
Yeah, it's like, how did that even...
Guys, fucking Worf was defeated by a loot.
I mean, here's the thing. It doesn't work anymore, and that was his mission. He is not going to expend unneeded energy. Sorry.
Yeah, Geordi, out of all of the crew, Geordi definitely seemed to be the most into it.
Yeah, no, he was
of course he was.
Like,
he loves
he's
holodeck
like,
bullshit.
I got a loot?
Yeah,
Sweet.
I can't play it for shit, but I'm going to try.
No, he was striking. He was actually hitting some chords, wasn't he? I mean, I feel like he was
none of them
at
were
least-
He was just plucking at it, pretty much.
Oh, I thought it sounded like he was actually getting somewhere, but I guess...
But, like, other than that, and, like, so obviously there was Worf, who was played for comic relief, which was fine. There's Geordi, who was into the loot. There was the Troy with the arrow joke.
Yeah.
But, like, I feel
Bev
like...
didn't do anything.
Yeah, I feel like the rest
Just
of the
like
crew...
usual.
I feel like the rest of the crew
Even Riker didn't do much.
Didn't really... Yeah. Like,
Well, he tried to bone Vash early on.
I think it's like... It's a... If you're gonna do a Robin Hood... episode.
Yeah, devote more time to it.
Do a Robin Hood episode. Let's see the crew dealing with living in the woods. Even if it would have been a dumb episode, like it might not have improved the episode, at least we would have gotten an episode about the crew being Robin Hood.
They spent way too much time with Vash feeling angry or frustrated with Picard that he didn't fucking tell.
Yeah, and then like Picard acting awkward toward Vash. Like that was the other thing.
It's like, oh, no one can know I fucked you on Risa.
But like, why would he have told anyone that he had sex with her?
Exactly,
He
and why
wasn't
would she
expecting to
want
ever
him to
like
know?
run. Like, it's not like they were in a relationship and he was like lying about it. It was like they had some fun.
Yeah.
They did the fuck, and then they were like, "Well, summer's over, Sandy. I guess I'll see you never."
Yeah,
See, it's funny. That's what I was about to say. Her feeling was like he was going to go and sing a song about it.
Summer lovin' got me some Vash.
Oh my god. Although I have to think though, considering when they were on Risa, there was the whole incident with the Ferengi, and they had to and the fake out with the future aliens and destroying the
Yeah, he probably
the
wrote a report
ovipositor.
somewhere.
Like there must have been a report. Somebody must have said, "Wow, Captain, that was did he just omit her from his official report?"
Well, no, he would have omitted the part where they fucked.
Yeah,
but those reports get sent to the Admiralty. They're not read by the crew.
They're probably
The
like
Admiralty.
public record.
Well, that's the thing.
I know. It's just a funny word. I don't know.
Oh yeah, maybe, and especially where there was like a time travel element to that with the aliens.
That's true.
There's probably more questions.
That shit probably gets sealed very quickly.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, like the Q stuff. They're like, you know what? Let's just tuck that way in the back.
Oh, and this woman's DTF took that down too.
Yeah. But I think I did like some of the gags that they did with Picard, like having him pretend to walk past her quarters when that crewman sees him and then doubles back to sneak in.
Oh, yeah, he's so awkward. It's charming.
But I kind of get that. Like, you don't really want your crew knowing that you're like, no, I know, human or whatever.
I know, but it's funny to watch him in a situation where he's where he just wants. We so rarely get to see him
bashful.
Yeah. In, like, sort of torn between, like, his libido and his, I must be the upstanding, stiff-faced captain.
Lay back and stiff, all right.
So here is...
France.
Here's my rewrite. Okay, here's how I'm fixing this episode. So
perfect.
Opens with Captain's log explaining the summit and everything, and then he is at... They open it at a reception for all the delegates at the conference. Mm-hmm. And Picard's there, and Vash shows up and does like a
fan dance,
comes up behind him and says,
"Guess Q,
is that a Horgon in your pants? Are you just happy to see me, or something?" And and then Picard acts really awkward, and she confronts him, and this is all before the credits roll.
Yeah,
it ends with I don't know, something. Maybe he says something, or I don't know. She gets offended. She gives him a slap. She slaps him, right? And then he goes back to his quarters, and who's waiting there but Q? And he makes a joke that's like, in the doghouse tonight, I see, ho ho ho. And then Q is like, I want to repay you. I'm gonna fix this situation with you and Vash. You're gonna be, it's my gift to you, Jean Mon Capitan. And then we jump right, so the credits roll after Q shows up, and then we have this brief scene of that, and then Picard's like, fuck off, Q. And we then we open the next morning at the speech. And then, just like in the show, we go to Nottingham Forest, and we're there now for the majority of the episode.
Yeah,
and we actually have a Robin Hood story.
Yeah,
for some reason.
For some reason, I mean, again, it's not going to make it a great episode, but it is going to give it.
Yeah, it gets us there faster.
It gets us there faster. I feel like I was so bored
watching Vash meet everybody individually.
Oh, okay.
I can't believe he never mentioned me to you either.
Like I got the point when Beverly showed up. I understood.
That was all we needed.
That's all I needed. I needed that scene with Beverly.
That scene was deliciously awkward.
And I needed a scene, and like there wasn't even. They made the scene where Picard goes to her quarters and finds like her fancy space transit, and is like, oh, you were here to pillage the ruins, da 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 da. Like, A, he would be more pissed about that, and B, it was an unnecessary scene. It was an unnecessary plot point.
Here's the thing. Of all the things that we see in this episode, I'm Not a Merry Man is the best.
Yes.
But I was very interested in Tegus 3 and, this civilization that they're trying to study while they physically can't go down to the surface, and what kind of things are they learning and how do they learn it and stuff like that. What could Q have given them as information on Tegus? That could have been interesting.
Apparently they knew how to party.
I would have loved if Vash had gone down there illegally and done some illegal archaeology.
Well, and I would have loved it even more if she could have actually just got Jean-Luc in on it, because he was so interested in it that he couldn't resist. Once in a lifetime opportunity.
If he had to chase her down there to stop her, or
and oops, darn, I have to be on this planet that I think is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I feel like this episode decided, oh man, we should bring back Vash, but oh wait, we haven't done a Q episode this season yet. Let's just do both. And it felt like a weird wedging together of two ideas that neither of them made much sense.
They wedged together at the end.
See, I don't mind Picard, or I don't mind Q and Vash in the same episode, because that's one thing that I was kind of like, okay, I like that they're doing this sort of all of Picard's chickens come home to roost sort of thing. Not only does he have to deal with the Vash situation, but now he also has a Q to deal with, and it's just it's an overwhelming thing for him.
When Q realized that he was having lady troubles and said, man, maybe I should have just appeared as a woman to you. Oh, the hate fucking they would have.
I was going to say, Ames, I bet that was pretty exciting for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man, imagine if they had done Devil's Due differently and it actually turned out to be Q the whole time.
Q doesn't deal in contracts.
Q.
No.
Another, actually, Worf thing. not to, I think it's overshadowed by I Am Not a Merry Man, but the face he makes when Vash sits in the captain's chair.
Yeah. Oh, he was so angry that...
I was not told that there would be visitors on the bridge, delegates on the bridge, whatever the fuck
that too,
says.
but
He
just
was
but
so mad.
The thing about the face is it's not even just mad, it's like, it's a mixture of anger and also just utter, like, disbelief.
Yeah.
She jettisoned Finney like 15 times.
Oh,
yeah, she's just playing with the buttons.
Yeah. But no, like, he's just like, they're like, oh, like Mr. Worf got the vapors. This isn't done, ma'am.
Wait, but wasn't it also her in 10 Forward where he was like, nice legs for a
Yes.
human?
Good legs. Nice house.
Yes, but that was
Good
later.
legs, nice blouse.
Yeah, that was...
Ah!
I'm here for it.
Oh, you know what I read? I read that Jennifer Hetrick, who plays Vash, and Patrick Stewart were engaged during this.
What?
Oh,
It's
scandal. Did Ian McKellen know?
Oh.
I don't. Well, it was 1991, so I don't know.
No,
She
probably not.
was like...
They did not marry.
She was like 15 years too old for him anyway.
Yikes.
Yeah, this
Wow,
was-
is that true? He should maybe run for Congress or
I
something.
believe this was
His current wife is like 30.
38, 39?
Yeah, but when they got married,
Oh.
she was like 29.
I
and he
mean-
was like 70.
So wait, did they like get together
One of the
after the
perks.
first Vash episode?
No,
or-
I didn't look too far into it. I tried to look up on their individual wiki pages, but she's not even listed because Patrick Stewart didn't actually marry her.
Mhm.
This would have been shortly after his first marriage, it sounds like. After his first divorce.
How many times has Patrick Stewart been married?
3.
Which is interesting because like I must have as a weird because I'm like there's no, I mean Picard, like Patrick Stewart is not an... No, I'll say it. Patrick Stewart is not an attractive man. Like I don't know. I don't see him. I think he's a very talented man, and I think that's an attractive quality. But I think objectively, if you ran into a man on the street that looked like that, you'd be like, "Oh, hey, you drew the short straw of the genetic lottery." Between the baldingness and the
Baldingness?
I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about people that are balding.
Wow,
but
are you racist towards bald people?
Would
you write bald asshole on his front door?
That is another.
That's
but
right.
no, I mean it's like he's balding. He was balding very very young. That schnoz ain't doing him any favors.
It's fine.
Yeah, I don't think he's unattractive, but I could just be
Okay,
blinded by his talent.
maybe I just have a different conception.
Well, fine. Maybe I'm just a heterosexual male.
As an
then.
Adonias myself.
Adonias, a bronzed Adonis.
Yes. No. But like she's a very attractive lady, and every time I saw them together in these shows, I'd be like, I don't really see how this is working.
Maybe he's just got schlong for days.
Maybe.
We did see some of it in those trousers.
Yeah, it was hanging out of those shorts he was wearing
God,
while on vacation.
those pajamas.
Oh, the pajamas. We see so
Weren't there
much
shorts
of
at some point, or am I making that up?
Yeah, no, on the first, I thought you were talking about this episode, but yeah, on the first episode there were the horrible shorts.
Oh, with the bulge. There was a bulge going.
It was the Battle of the Bulge.
So yeah, at the end, it's like I think we made this connection first time we saw Vash, but yeah, no, River Song really is just a ripoff of this character. Because like at the end, the archaeologist thief lady goes to bum around the universe with the superpowered immortal alien.
Yeah, but she hasn't shown up enough to be as fucking annoying and overdone as River Song, and
No,
she never will because I think we've just seen the last of her.
We've seen the last of her on this series.
Oh, really?
We do see her again.
Cool. Well,
But
hopefully
yeah, no,
we don't
like,
ever see her enough to be as fucking annoying and overdone as the River Song.
We will not. But yeah, no, like Moffat clearly just stole her from this.
He was like, wow, I'm not good at writing strong female characters. I'll steal some from someone else.
Yep.
Good for him. Glad he's gone.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I don't know. I think, Doctor Who critique notwithstanding, I do like the character of Vash.
Oh no, Vash is
Oh,
great.
I do too. I like
she's
Vash a
an
lot.
ass.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. She's better than River Song.
Yeah.
And I thought, again, I quite enjoyed this episode. I like the ridiculous episodes. I fucking love the aforementioned piece of the action.
Yeah.
Oh, Piece of the Action was good. I don't know. Like I said, this just to me feels out of place after like some of the shit that we've seen. That's all. I
Well, even some of the good stuff that we've seen.
No, I mean not bad shit. Not shit in the bad way, but like as in
Like,
I've seen some shit, man.
Shit's gone down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not even... And for me, I don't know. I just think this is a missed opportunity episode. I also don't mind the more lighthearted episodes, but I also just feel like this one was a lighthearted episode that was executed
wicked poorly.
and ended up being a really kind of boring half of an episode, followed by a really rushed second half to the episode.
How are they all excellent swordsmen?
Reg taught them.
Fucking Reg.
Yeah, no, I kind of thought that too.
Well, actually, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty well established in Star Trek that fencing is like a big deal.
Oh yeah, I mean,
is it actually well established?
Sulu was a swordsman, and
well, yeah, but that's because he was like a swashbuckler at heart. It had nothing to do with like his Star Trek training. In the Kelvin timeline, he is like
he's like a samurai. He's got like a samurai sword.
No, but it is still technically fencing. I
think. No, he says he's trained in fencing, but then he whips out this collapsible,
stupid space fencing sword. Oh man, I hated that so bad because it's almost racist, and it's like, well, you got to give him a samurai sword.
Closer to a katana.
But he's Korean. Isn't he Korean?
The character's Japanese.
The character's Japanese.
I thought the character was whatever you wanted to need.
He was born in San Francisco.
So originally the character was supposed to be sort of Pan-Asian, but eventually Sulu just became Japanese. Because George Takei was.
Yeah. I think the character of Sulu was always supposed to be.
Well, does that mean that Khan is now fucking Latino? Oh no, he's white now, sorry, because of Benedict Cumberbatch. But I mean, like...
No, Sulu was actually supposed to be Pan-Asian. That's why they named him Sulu. The Sulu Sea is an ocean in... East Asia that sort of touches multiple countries.
He's of Japanese descent. I mean, he says he was born in San Francisco.
Well, yeah, that was after they basically
There's only Japanese people in San Francisco.
I know karate. Mostly gay people. I think
they that was by the time they decided to just straight up.
What was it in Big Hero 6? San Francisco.
Oh, that's cute.
Where they merged San Francisco and Tokyo into one weird mega city somehow.
Japan floated its way over
and California broke off, and they met in the middle.
Yeah. Where they belong.
Yeah. So that's kind of my take on it. Like I say, I don't really hate the episode, but I also just feel like it was a bit of a waste.
I liked it a lot,
and it's like a waste of the character of Vash. I mean, although she did have some great scenes with the nurse. I love the nurse character.
Yeah.
It just felt like,
I
mean, you got this awesome character you could do a lot with.
True. I mean, I liked it a lot,
and you wasted her dressing her up in a fucking dress.
Like you, I would have preferred more Robin Hood.
Yeah. I definitely think if you're going to bother putting them in the trappings, you got to go for it.
I could have done without the Robin Hood entirely.
I mean,
me too. But if you're going to go there,
there's not much. You can't really do another Maltese Falcon story because we've already done that with Vash and Picard.
And you can't just put them in the holodeck again and say, "Oh, you're stuck in Sherwood Forest."
I mean, really, this seemed like it almost felt like a holodeck episode in some ways.
If they couldn't do the Maltese Falcon, why not do Casablanca?
Yeah, maybe.
Or the African Queen.
The African Queen's kind of overrated.
Yeah, but it's still a Humphrey Bogart film, isn't it?
True.
Yeah, so... or something with Bacall. Lauren Bacall and Bogart were fucking awesome.
They were fucking.
I definitely don't
think
that
of age gaps.
The creativity in the writers' room was lacking for this episode.
Say again, Jake?
I think they phoned it in, the writers. I don't think they were very creative. I think maybe they had like...
They had a list of jokes they wanted to play with.
A list of jokes, and they had like, that castle set down the block is freed up. Maybe we should film something there.
Something a model.
Someone's like, could we do ancient alien ruins? Like, well, no, it pretty much only looks like a medieval English castle. Oh, okay, we'll do something else.
I didn't hate it though. It was alright.
Yeah, it's alright.
But I agree though. It does feel like a waste of Vash, and it actually sort of feels like a waste of Q because he's not even really in it that much.
I mean, he's in it. He's just
playing.
He's just doing I put you guys in a funny scenario. Let's see how you do.
Which does just sort of make him feel more like this series is Gothos all over again.
Yeah.
You know
this
what I
is
mean?
why I really liked. What was the fucking name of the one I really liked where he's human for a day?
Well, the last one was.
The last time we saw Q, the one that I really liked because it has Q. It has Q do something very interesting. Mm-hmm. In this one, he just shows up and it's like, Deus Ex Q here. Or Q Ex Machina? How would that work?
No, there's
the first one, I think.
X.
Yeah. The best Q episode in terms of like good sci-fi is yet to come, but there's hope yet.
I look forward.
So what was the other one?
The other one was the Drumhead, which I don't consider a really big sci-fi episode because it's mostly about lawyers.
Yeah, no, I mean this is definitely a
low science week.
Courtroom drama lama ding dong.
But it's also, I mean, it's a society piece, right? It's a mirror up to nature.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
It was also their way of saving money without resorting to another clip show, which was an option.
Ooh.
And they ended up with what is regarded as one of the better episodes of the series.
The Drumhead?
Oh yeah,
it was really. I
did like
it a lot.
Oh.
In terms of like proselytizing episodes, it's up there.
See, I am so lukewarm on courtroom drama that mainly I was tired. And also, like, this is like my every fear of courtrooms is just like a person like Sati going up there and just digging up unrelated bullshit and saying, "How do you explain this?" You're like, but that's not even relevant. Why do I have to explain this?
That's the whole point. Right?
I know it's the point, but it's kind of exhausting.
Yeah. I mean,
And
I think we're probably maybe more sensitive. So you got to figure when this came out we were well withdrawn from like the McCarthyist era.
The Cold War was basically over.
The Cold War is basically over. I mean, we had not had 9/11 yet. So we were at a time when like there might not have been as much cultural sensitivity to this sort of thing. Like I think today we look at this and we're like, I see this shit going on. Like this, I could totally imagine this scenario. So I think maybe there's a cultural sensitivity that's present today that might not have been as potent in the early 90s.
So the actress that played Sati, I looked her up. Jean Simmons, no, not that one. Actually was in both The Robe and Spartacus.
Yeah, I knew that one. I also know she was Miss Havisham in a Great Expectations movie.
That feels right.
What
was it after this? I feel like she's older, but she feels like she's still too young to play Miss Havisham.
Yeah, you could probably hold her up pretty easily.
Yeah, that's true.
Plus, put anyone in a fucking
I think it was close
battered
to this time.
wedding dress and some cobwebs. That's Havisham, right? The wedding dress one.
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. I mean, I certainly
wasn't the Ethan
heard
Hawke
the
one.
title, but I don't know it.
Did they have sex in that movie?
What?
in that book?
In the book?
In Great Expectations, is there sex? Is that what you're saying?
Does she end up having sex with the kid?
Why have I not read
It's
this
a
book?
Charles
There's
Dickens
sex?
novel. No. Anyway.
His last name is Dickens. I think it's a fair question.
I'm gonna be a huge Red Scare over here. What was so wrong with what Sati was doing? Because there was some conspiracy on the ship. They figured out the Klingon was very ingeniously smuggling information to the Romulans, and we'll talk about that because that was really fucking cool. And she just wanted to figure out how he was doing it.
Well, and they did, but then they were trying to suggest that what had happened to... Wasn't there like something wrong with the engine?
Yeah, the dilithium
warp
chamber
core?
hatch.
Yeah, there was a defect in the hatch for the warp core.
But they were trying to, like, it's like they didn't believe that there was... Because the crew, Geordi and whomever, proved that was
It was
just...
just a manufacturing defect.
It was a coincidence.
Yeah,
But she was like, well, I don't want to believe that. I'd rather believe
no, she believed that.
No, she believed, despite that, she continued to believe that there was a conspiracy on board, despite no further evidence of any kind.
The evidence was that the information from the Klingon was getting off the ship to the Romulans.
Right, but he was acting
alone.
alone.
But Worf tracked that. Maybe it was kind of a throwaway line, and I kind of wish they'd spent more time. But Worf tracked the guy that most likely smuggled the information off.
Yeah, but she was just so laser focused on this kid being part Romulan that she figured it had to be him, that he was somehow involved.
Yeah.
So really, she's just a racist, like all old people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what
I
it was.
I missed the line that. So Jadan was working alone.
No. There was a traitor. I think Worf said there was somebody who had been on the Enterprise who had left.
I totally missed
and
this.
who was
it was definitely treated as a throwaway thing.
Who basically vanished somewhere near Romulan space.
Oh
yeah, I remember that now.
And he probably had the data floating around in his blood.
Yeah. So yes. So that was. So the implication was that basically the case has been solved.
All right, I missed
part.
that
We have a very good. I mean, we don't have proof, but we have a very good idea of who smuggled the information out, and we have a very good idea of. Yeah, we're not very good. We have a confession as to who was the spy.
Yeah.
So then, continuing with the inquiry. Now, it might be worthwhile to like do an inquiry and figure out like what went wrong that they were that this happened, that we were able to get this happening. But she ended up focusing not, and
she turned it into a witch hunt.
Yeah, and Tarsus even said, she's like, he's like, well, I was one of several people that gave the injections. So it could have been, why aren't those other guys being interrogated?
Yeah, like I hung out with him in 10 Forward once.
Yeah. And the implication I got from that was that it was a group gathering, like a reception of some kind.
Well, I like how they kind of led Beverly to that too. Like you kind of felt like they were, I don't want to say like putting words in her mouth, but you kind of get the impression that she wasn't really remembering it, but they were pushing her to remember it. And she was just like, I don't really see what, like, I don't know. And
then like the other thing beyond that she did wrong was completely misrepresenting and distorting the truth. It's starting with telling Tarsus that it was sabotage even after it was conclusively determined that it wasn't. And then when she started pulling out basically random ad hominem attacks against Picard.
Yeah.
Well, isn't the former kind of an interrogation technique?
Yeah, but why?
So, like, if you have two different guys in two different rooms, you tell one of them, "Oh, so and so totally confessed about you."
Yeah, but
when that didn't happen, just to get the guy to talk.
Yeah, but what happened to innocent before proven guilty? Like the kid didn't do anything, and she was like trying to catch him on any, what do you call it?
Evidence.
No.
Any little fuck up?
No. I don't know. It's gone.
Romulan.
She's trying to get him to slip up.
Yeah.
And like, and the thing is, she probably legitimately believed that he was a threat. So she felt justified in making, using that type of a technique, which I think many people would agree is not a particularly honest technique for an investigator.
Not honest, but is it effective?
Trying to catch him on a technicality.
I think it probably is effective.
Is it legal?
It's probably legal. You'd be surprised what is legal.
It's not illegal.
But still, it wasn't like he had committed a crime and was like...
He lied on his application.
Which, by the way, what the fuck kind of application asks you who your grandfather is?
Well, no, it was probably like, job applications today ask you what your race is. You don't have to answer it, but... And same with college applications.
A certain admired senator from our own home state. Right?
What?
Oh yeah, I saw some ads on the way to rehearsal one day. A whole bunch of ads. I guess I don't know who's running right now for Senate.
Someone's going to lose.
Someone whose campaign is
a hopeless campaign.
Whose campaign is a real Native American should take down the fake Native American.
No, it's not even that. It's vote for the real Indian because he's of Indian.
Oh, he's an
descent.
Oh, he's Indian. Okay.
Yeah. So
I don't know who the guy is.
He's a psychopath. He's an alt-rightist, or at least an alt-right cozyist, even though he's not white.
Doesn't he run like every year or something all the time?
But he's one of those people that's like, dude, no matter how much you cozy up to the alt-right, they're not going to let you in the secret club. They're going to hold you up to be like, look, I have a friend who isn't white.
Look, we have a brown friend.
Which, by the way...
Didn't Trump actually point out a black guy in the crowd once and like, look at my African-American?
I think so. They actually pulled that in this episode, too. When the Klingon they're interrogating at the beginning is all like, this is because I'm Klingon, isn't it? And they're like, our chief of security's Klingon.
Yeah,
we can't be racist. Friend. And even Worf kind of made a face like, you pulling this shit right now?
Oh, poor Worf.
Yeah. But
don't get me wrong, I still think he's guilty, but fuck you.
But yeah, pulling the old, you lied on your application, like it could be, it could be an omission. It could be, maybe a family story like the Elizabeth Warren thing was.
Anyway, let's talk about Romulans again.
Please.
So what exactly is the timeline implication? If this kid's grandfather was Romulan, so this would have been, I'm going to wild guess, at least 50 years ago that his Romulan grandfather impregnated his presumably human grandmother.
Longer than that.
Maybe a little longer.
More long-living,
yeah,
right?
maybe
so that means they're probably
35
having babies later.
And
40 years ago.
Probably have similar lifetimes to
Vulcans. Okay, sure.
So who knows?
Yeah, so...
Plus his grandfather, that could have been his grandmother, could have been his grandfather's fifth wife or something. Not that affects the timeline. Yeah. Anyway, go on.
Some amount of time ago. Sometime between TOS and today. And this kid's probably, 25 years old or so.
Sure.
So the Romulans were back then? How many times do the Romulans come back?
Well, no. So I figure the Romulan empire as I look at it kind of like Japan, right? So Japan
isn't another planet, though.
No, but they kind of turned isolationist throughout, basically from medieval times until the late 1800s. Like, Japan was a closed island. Foreigners, well, particularly
mostly they
Western,
did have at least one port active that allowed, I think, the Dutch.
Yeah, there was like but they had very
like
little.
North Korea.
They had very little contact with the outside.
Yeah,
and then in the late 1800s, I think it was an American fleet that actually like just went to Japan. It was like, you're going to be open now.
Commodore Perry.
Perry it was like
Matthew Perry, actually, which is weird.
Yeah. He's like, you're going to be open now, and then. After that, Japan was like, holy shit, the entire world, like, just surpassed us. Like, we're still, like, Japan's still, like, horseback. Well, I guess everybody was horseback, but, you know, there's still swords and samurai and shit like this. Meanwhile, there's, like, you know, post-Civil War armies with, you know, guns
and shit.
And cannons and giant fleets, and Japan's like, fuck.
Yeah. Don't worry, they've surpassed us in video games quickly.
So I'm guessing what happened was more that sometime after the Star Trek VI, which is, I think, the last time in canon we see Romulans as having diplomatic relations with the Federation, went isolationist.
Yeah. And the guy, his grandfather just could have been a defector.
Yeah, he could have been somebody that was living... You know, just because you are a Romulan doesn't mean you are a part of the Romulan Empire. It could just be that he was a Romulan dude. He was just a trader. Maybe he was a space captain piloting a freighter. Who knows? Yeah. And he just, you know, when the Romulan Empire closed out, he was like, well, fuck, I'm in love with this human lady, so I'm gonna move to Mars and make babies.
I live on Mars Colony now, which, like, guys, it's been a colony for how long now? Give it a real name. Start naming the cities. Don't just say, oh yeah, I grew up on Mars Colony. What part?
Okay,
it's huge.
But here's the thing. You wouldn't know that.
They could have said he grew up in Carson City, Mars, or something.
All right, fine.
New Carson City. I guess, Mars.
New Carson City, Mars.
Yeah. I'm saying there's ways to do it without just being like Mars Colony. Plus, I mean, again, is it even still a colony at this point? They've probably terraformed the planet. It's probably complete... stupid.
Yeah, true. Point is, I think it's safe to say, I don't think the Romulans being back, I think was more about we're back as a global, or not global,
galactic,
we're back as a galactic force to be reckoned with, versus, like, it wasn't like they just vanished off the face of the galaxy.
Plus, I mean, as we know, like, it seems like they mostly cut themselves off from the Federation, because for anything in Worf's background to work, they had to be having dealings with the Klingons.
Yeah, maybe they were just like working in the shadows for 50, 60
Which
years. Which
feels very Romulan. That's very much their kind of thing.
Yeah, and their invisible submarines.
I mean, they built a fucking massive fleet. I mean, those ships didn't come from nowhere.
You know, a massive fleet of giant fucking ships. Because aren't they a little bigger than galaxies?
They're pretty huge.
Yeah, of course. They're also hollow.
Depends on the episode.
Yeah, that's true.
How they comped the effect shot.
Yeah, but yeah, so that's kind of the main issue. Is she just kind of gets hung up on this kid's heritage, and you know, it's a combination witch hunt and just clearly racist bullshit.
And then like pulling out the
Betazoid.
Yeah, that guy, and then calling out Worf's father.
Yeah,
because at the beginning when the guy's like,
I can make your dad's dishonor go away.
Yeah, and then like it comes up at the end, and it's like, oh.
Well, even there had been that moment where her Beta Z was all like, oh no, we completely believe you're trustworthy, and now it's kind of like, did you though?
I mean, if
now I wonder.
You use it later as a weapon against him.
Yeah, like kudos to the casting department. I wanted to punch both of her aides square in the teeth. They did an amazing job of hiring people who could play insufferable, arrogant... And Typey lady barely said anything.
Yeah, I was going to say, like I wrote down in my notes about 3/4 of the way through the show, like, is the other aide going to do anything?
She summons to Picard.
Yeah, but no, she mostly sits there and just types in a way that is immediately like, you just want to fucking break her little pad in half. And then maybe break her fingers.
Ouch.
Ow.
Well, again, I wanted someone to curb stomp the Beta Z guy, so she would have got off light.
Sabin?
Yeah, he was an asshole. That was the other thing. Sorry, it was like, wait, you're not
use Troy's Betazoid abilities.
No, you don't understand. My Betazoid sucks.
Betazoid.
My Betazoid sucks. It's broken.
She's only half.
Yours actually works. I don't know how to deal with that.
But that's the thing. I don't
Devin
know that it
Raw
worked
did.
because here's the thing. The only time he really seemed to use any betazoidiness was when he said he thought that Tarsus was lying.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what
something.
Troy would have said.
Yeah.
That's true.
That's at the beginning.
What was your first clue, Einstein?
And then he didn't say anything during like Picard's trial of like, oh, he's got a point and he's not lying, and he hates you a lot.
Well, because I think it comes down to
not in a hate fucking kind of way like the other courtroom.
Ooh.
so there's a concept in
German
scientific skepticism called motivated reasoning, which is essentially the idea that if you are predisposed to a certain viewpoint, then you can, even someone that's an intelligent and generally a reasoned person can fall prey to like cognitive dissonance.
Sure.
In order to justify something that they actually believe.
How much other evidence do they have to ignore, though?
Well, but that's the thing. So, like, you have someone like Sati, who is, by all accounts, a reasoned person. Someone who's decorated and has all of credentials and has been
decorated. Yeah, we saw that cowl.
As she said, she was raised with her father, who was this great orator and debater and all this, and yet she has this need essentially to villainize Romulans, that she will reach for anything to make her belief that this guy is guilty into a reality, even when the facts, like, there was no we're pretty sure we know how the plans got out, and B, we know there was no sabotage, yet somehow this guy's still guilty of something.
Yeah. I feel like part of it, too, is like, it's never said outright, but part of the implication, she's retired. We don't know how long exactly, but, like, this could be sort of like a last grasp at glory kind of thing. Like, she probably got a lot of plaudits for that last conspiracy she helped rumble, and she wants that fucking rush again.
Yeah, like, she never...
she should try skydiving or some shit, for real.
Like, she never quite lived up to her father's expectation, maybe.
Yeah, they're never going to be fucking quoting her after that shit fit that she had.
A little bit.
Again, kudos to the casting department. Man does not say a word, but that other Admiral had the perfect, well, this bitch is crazy, face before he walked out.
Left.
Like, he didn't need to say anything, just the face was like...
Wasn't he the one that was like, you know what, we're going to have a recess?
Oh, did he?
Wasn't he the one that declared it was recess time?
No,
or like
Picard declared recess
did he? Okay,
earlier.
The other, he didn't say it, he just sat there. And at first he just kind of sat there like, I'm watching impassively. And then eventually he's like, bitch's crazy face, gets up and leaves without saying a word. And that's when everyone else is like, well, the Admiral has not spoken, but...
I thought, something we haven't talked too much about. We talked about Worf a little bit, but, sort of Worf's trajectory in this episode was pretty interesting. I don't know.
Well, it's like they were both obsessed with finding the truth.
And they were both motivated. They were both victims of motivated reason. Like, Worf wanted to believe that there was a Romulan connection more than anything.
Yeah, because, he has so much reason to hate the Romulans, beyond just the fact that Klingons just hate Romulans.
And well, not just that, but also, like, I don't know, I think he wanted to prove how much he wanted to find out the truth, because he didn't want to then be suspicious.
Yeah. He was also just so excited to be leading an investigation. There was that scene where he was giving orders to the various security people. He was like in his element. He was so excited.
You think Data lent him his like Sherlock Holmes shit?
He probably tried to, and he's like, no, that's not necessary.
I am not a merry man.
I did feel
also, the hat does not fit over my ridges.
I did feel bad for Worf when they had to when he had to confront Jadan about stuff. Jadan being the guy that everyone knew did the thing. And it's like, Worf, bring him to the brig or what they were doing. And Worf looks over and says, "Aw, I am never going to have another Klingon friend."
Yeah, and like Jadan trying to be like, I can hook it up. I can get your name cleared.
Who the fuck does this xenobiologist or whatever he was know?
Well, I mean, he was obviously a spy.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Not what he claimed to be. I think we're going to find out more pretty soon about the Romulan-Klingon connection, and I think it'll probably become more clear who Jordan probably works for.
Is it anything like the Rainbow Connection?
It is.
Oh, cool.
So that's coming up, I know, in a couple weeks.
Cool.
So I'm looking forward to that.
Are these the last episodes of the season, or do we have a couple more?
We have a couple more.
Got a couple more, but we're getting there.
Wow. This is like pissing by. Makes me kind of sad, because like now that we've gotten to the good times, they're quite good.
Yeah, there's some great stuff. Don't worry, we got all of DS9 to go, and DS9 has a lot of good shit in it.
How many seasons is DS9?
7.
Holy shit.
TNG, DS9, and Voyager are all 7 seasons.
Isn't Voyager not very good?
It is
Voyager
not.
has a lot of good stuff.
Is that
in
the
it.
Janeway
Voyager does
one?
have a lot of good episodes, but I think, I've said this before, but I think Voyager is far less consistent than either TNG, mid to late TNG.
Yeah.
or
I wouldn't
DS9.
don't count first and second season, or TNG will.
Yeah, but
pull
like
off
in
as
terms of
even.
like, I feel like TNG has a pretty good run from 3rd through 6th season.
Not what's wrong with 7th.
7's got some weak shit in it.
Oh, good, we'll get there.
But it's still not nearly as bad as first season.
Well, don't you always kind of have to assume that the final season of a show probably isn't that good unless they like
Planned it
Although
that
they
way?
actually-
Yeah.
Planned their obsolescence?
Yeah.
But I think
They
kinda
went in
did.
knowing that was their last season.
In fact, I think they were rich. I think I read somewhere
I
that
just mean unless you
Picard,
have a
or like
Bible
the actors were basically signed for 6 seasons, and then there was like 7th season might have been tacked on as a as like an extra season.
But it was still
Goodness.
pulling down really good ratings when it ended.
Yeah, but they kind of
So
they went
weren't
out on their
canceled, they just were
terms.
done. Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, they went out knowing it was their final
it is-
season. They
it is
build up
hard.
to a finale,
It is hard to overstate just how, like, you think, like, people are like, oh, Star Trek, that's like nerd fringe shit, but like, it is hard to overstate just how popular Star Trek was in the 90s.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was
Well,
because
in the 60s, too, I think it was pretty big for what it was.
yeah, I think it was more cultish in the 60s, and like kind of, it was more of it was actually kind of a more underground thing. It was popular. It was more of a kid show. So it's popular with kids, but I think the adults that were in the room weren't really watching it, and that's probably why it got canceled.
TOS?
Yeah.
No. Lots of like renowned people really liked TOS.
Oh, I'm sure.
Eddie Murphy was a big fan.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, but he was a kid in the 60s, so
No, but like
that's what I'm saying. It was a
there
kid
was a-
show in the 60s.
there was a big deal that in the write-in campaign, it wasn't only like the bulk of letters that came in, but there was letters from like scientists and
Oh
astronomers.
yeah, and I think that was why it got saved. Twice really was because they realized, oh, it isn't just kids. There is a fan base of adults that are watching this. Consumers.
Yeah, I think you're right in that TNG did have sort of a broader
Yeah.
appeal. Like I know my father watched it. Not that he doesn't like science fiction, but I think it's the only Star Trek he sort of tuned into on the regular. Like I don't think he followed DS9 or anything like that.
My cousins were big fans.
Yeah.
My cousin's son is named Wesley.
Hmm.
Not because of that Wesley. It was a different Wesley, wasn't it? But it
Oh,
was still
was it,
Star Trek. Like Corporal Wesley, Captain Wesley, somebody that wasn't Wesley.
The only other Wesley from fiction I know is Princess Bride.
No, it was after Star Trek. It just wasn't that Wesley, I don't think.
You know?
So was it one of Kirk's friends? I don't
Maybe.
remember.
That's Finnegan.
Yeah.
So
It was TNG,
Was
I'm
there
pretty sure.
Commodore Wesley?
I don't know, maybe. I
Was
just
it
know that they
Commodore
were
Wesley?
huge TNG fans, and I'm pretty sure their kid is named after.
So two final thoughts from me on this one. They're having their little inquisition. I've appointed you counsel. It's Commander Riker. I was like, oh, this kid's fucked. Like seriously, I know we said it before, but for Christ's sakes, get a lawyer on the ship.
I mean,
Riker's pretty okay.
Riker did almost get Data killed, so
And also, he did tell the kid not to answer the question.
yeah, but like that's literally all he did.
And he also directed this episode.
Yes, I noticed that, which
Oh,
is
shit.
probably
Yeah,
the
for
main
him.
reason he's barely in it.
But yeah, that's another thing though. Going back to the get a lawyer on the ship thing, like what the fuck? This is like the third or fourth legal proceeding that has occurred on this show where there is no qualified officer to deal with it.
Hell, I was surprised that when there was this whole the thinger exploded. We should look into this, and they actually brought in a specialist out of retirement to look at it instead of just making it Picard's job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Picard couldn't figure it out. His Dixon Hill wasn't that sharp this week.
Well, no, it is that you can't have Picard go on the witch hunt. You need to bring in someone else.
Yeah. But yeah, have it like this is a situation where if instead of a counselor on board, it was it was
A
And
counselor.
she was counselor.
It was,
Yeah.
yeah, it was Counsel Troy instead of Counselor Troy. If Troy was the ship's lawyer,
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
And she's a Betazoid.
Yeah.
You know how good they are at this.
Yeah, imagine if they had done. Imagine if they'd taken that tact with the Betazoid species instead of being the emotional empaths.
Support animals.
They were like the greatest
Lawyers
litigators in the galaxy, and that was someone to have on.
That would be fun.
Nah, that would have been better. Also, maybe they would have let her be in a sensible uniform earlier.
Nah.
That would be nice.
My only other note was sort of a bit of a geeky fanboy moment. Is I think this is the first time since TOS they have explicitly stated that the Prime Directive is General Order Number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Because they called
That's a note?
Yeah, it was something that I caught and I was happy.
Oh. I was surprised that they've only broken it. How many times
9.
did they say? 9 or 19?
9.
I wonder if
Only
the writers
9?
actually
It was definitely
went through previous episodes and went, okay, that's a violation, and actually picked out the specific violations they were referencing.
I just feel like if any captain ever gets called on it, their response can just be, Kirk,
Ah!
you gave the motherfucker a ship again after how many fucking violations?
All of them.
I mean, so you got the Mentakins, you got
Pen pals?
the pen pal girl, you have would you consider First Contact, even because that was like a plan?
That was supposed to happen, so I mean that it went funky.
Wait,
but...
is that the film though?
No. First Contact, the episode with
the one with the hospital where Riker
with
gets hurt.
Riker fuck BB Newworth.
Oh, but also what? Yeah, that's right. And also, what about the one where Troy and Riker are on the planet, or is that the Mentakins?
That's the Mentakins.
Damn it.
Justice?
Oh yeah, Justice.
What about Racism Planet?
No, they did everything within the mores of the world.
So I got 4, but there's got to be some other ones that we're missing.
Mm-hmm.
But
what about Lady Planet? Because they fucked with that, right? Oh no, that's Justice. God damn it.
No, you're thinking that's you mean Angel 1?
Yes.
That was the one with the women ran the show and the men were like an underclass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that one count?
I don't know because I think they were okay to be contacted. That's the thing, right? It's only a Prime Directive violation if you're not supposed to contact them. Are there any how many time travel episodes really have there yet?
Not unless you count the one where Yar comes back to life.
No. Because I feel like anytime there's a time travel episode, you're going to end up.
But there wasn't
Riker jumped
wasn't that a
into the future.
universe travel one?
Yeah, that wasn't a violation. That was just the universe got fucked.
The universe was violating the Prime Directive.
Mm.
The Royale.
The Royale.
So
the outrageous Okona. They were primitive.
So I found this board post. Problem here is that this person is listing every time, so it's also episodes we haven't gotten to. But the ones we have had, Pen Pals, yeah.
Yeah, obvious.
Who Watches the Watchers?
Yep.
We haven't gotten to that one yet.
Why
Justice.
in order?
I don't know.
Monster.
So we are counting Justice. Yeah, I guess that makes sense.
This is under. Well,
He
so
dragged her up on the ship and freaked her out.
Yeah, it's true.
yeah, they've got Pen Pals. They've got these ones are under arguably, and then debatable, but still. There's Angel 1, Symbiosis, The Hunted. Which one is that?
Hunted.
Have we gotten to
Is that the
yeah.
one?
Broga Dinar. Oh, the space Rambo.
Oh, right. I wouldn't call that a
Well, and they have this one. They're debatable.
What about Up the Long Ladder? I mean, they did talk to Irish.
Well,
What?
they did kind of get
That's
involved.
that's not Prime Directive because they're your people.
That's true, but they were uncontacted. How far removed do you have to be before they become an uncontacted pre-warp civilization? Because those Irish were definitely not advanced society.
Mm.
They were living with pigs.
The High Ground. Picard and the crew become more entangled than they intended in the Russian Civil War.
I think the debatable ones are a really, really loose definition.
Yeah, well, they even admit this here. Devil's Due. While Ardra was a phony, Picard could be considered to have over-involved himself in the spiritual evolution of the Ventaxians by challenging her authority. Stretching it.
Didn't they reach out to... No, they already had a fucking outpost on the
Yeah,
planet.
but I guess... But that's true. I guess if you include in the definition of the Prime Directive, it's not just contact with pre-warp civilization, it's also just using a position of... As interfering with the natural development of any society.
Not just a primitive one.
Yeah, because you could...
So you can't even share technology with an ally?
Either that or if you had gone down, if Picard had filmed a political ad for Gul Dukat or something,
I'd vote for that.
That could be considered interference.
Goldukat
that would be collusion, and we know how.
Still a better president. So yeah, I don't know. It's if some other bigger nerd than me wants to go through with a fine-toothed comb and really figure out. And also, we don't know. She didn't specifically say. Oh no.
She said it was since he took command of the Enterprise.
So yeah, never mind then.
So yeah, it does not include Stargazer.
I remember it being 9. I thought it was 4.
No, she said
She said 9.
Is she really?
Yeah.
But again, you got to figure, just like with anything, there's violations and then there's violations. There's okay, yeah, we kind of fucked up, but it's reported and it's documented and it goes in the file.
It was all coincidental stuff.
Also, there's also
did the initial contact with the Borg count?
No, that was something forced upon them by an outside. Plus, the Borg definitely are plenty developed.
Take old Biddy.
There's also always just the possibility that there's stories we haven't seen.
Stuff we haven't seen. But it'd be interesting. That's was my point though. Is like I wonder if if somebody in the writing staff made a call, like, okay, these are 9 instances.
Or if they just picked a number that seemed reasonable.
Yeah, possible.
Why wouldn't they show us the other episodes though?
I wonder if Farpoint would count. Because, they were, I don't know. It's hard to say.
Yeah, again, it depends on what your definition of the Prime Directive even is, which, again, the show can't even always seem to settle on, so.
The one with Junior. They killed Junior's mom.
Oh, that's true. That should definitely count.
That was an act of self-defense, though, so it's tricky. Also, are they a civilization?
They found more of them.
Yeah, but they could just be a sort of
Tin Man. What about Tin Man?
Does this Transfiguration one count?
That was actually under their stretching it one. But I could see that. They do interfere with the politics of that culture, even if the politics are disgusting and fucked up.
I think Tin Man would count because Tin Man was just gonna die out there, and then they
agreed.
They let Fucko beam over.
Fucko.
Well, except that was basically a violation he was ordered to do. The Federation was like, go take a look at this thing, bring this guy.
Yeah, he was more. I feel like at the end of the day, the bigger goal was just keep the Romulans away from it.
True. It was really Fucko that truly Fucko to the Prime Directive on that.
Sure
Fucko. Fucko foobarred that shit right in the
Fucko the clown. What?
Yikes. On that note,
anything else on these shows?
I don't think so. Maybe next week we'll have some sci-fi.
We might, but I don't know if we'll have sci-fi, but I know we're gonna have our favorite mom.
Oh no!
Is she back?
She is back. She like a Romulan. She's
back.
Loxana Troy will arrive in Half a Life.
Save me.
Half a Life. That's next week. Also next week is The Host. The Host.
Well, how about the Packlids? Is the Packlids breaking in the Prime Directive?
Prime Erection?
Prime Erection.
I mean, the fact that the Geordi beamed over and fixed their ship, but no, he was very careful not to break the Prime Directive by not giving them technology that they didn't have.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, tough one over there, but possible. Certainly worthy of the JAG officer taking a look at it. Oh, wait, we don't have one of those.
But Picard was on the ship at that time, so it wasn't his call.
That's true. He was off getting his old ticker talked.
Talking to Wesley.
Yeah.
Moriarty should count. Moriarty definitely wasn't ready to learn about the spaceships.
But he found it on his own.
But he weren't real.
But he were real.
He wants to be a real boy.
And when he told that poor other holographic guy that his wife and kids weren't real.
Oh God, I forgot about that. That was so sad.
Anyway, so those are coming up next time on our show, A Star to Steer Her By, the Star Trek podcast.
What was the other one? Half a Life and what?
Half a Life and The Host.
What's The Host? Well,
we'll find out next week.
It's that thing the priest gives you towards the end of Mass.
Hey. It should have been called Symbiontis. I got nothing. Anyway, so those are coming up next week on A Star to Steer Her By. Until then, you can follow us, keep up with our Cardassians on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, where we are SSHB Podcast. You can also find our podcast on SoundCloud.com or on Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts. Until next time, my name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
And I am not a married man.